All right, so a quick cross-cultural lesson here. So apparently in Japan, you can hire a paid actor to pretend to be your family member or friend for like a specific time period. And I think it's kind of crazy because there's like probably countless American rom-com movies where like someone hires a boyfriend or pretends to be a girlfriend and it results in them like actually getting together. But in Japan, this is like a completely established thing. Um, but anyways, this is the premise of the new Searchlight movie, Rental Family. And Brendan Fraser, he plays this huge white dude who's a struggling actor. He can't land any roles, and he's this lonely guy who can't catch a break. But then he's recruited by one of these rental family services who needs a token white guy. And then in the movie, he's hired to play a husband, a best friend, a journalist, a father. And the movie mostly focuses on how he is hired by this woman who wants him to pretend to be the father of her daughter. And essentially, he's just lying to the girl and building this bond and this relationship. And I just watched this movie, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I think it's a pretty interesting scenario. Like, what are the ethics of this? Like, what's the value of this kind of service and stuff? Like, people are paying for a lie, and like people are lying to their families and friends, but also like these lies can help people in different ways. And I think this movie explores these ideas from a Japanese and an American perspective. And just overall, I'm a sucker for these type of movies, like movies that deal with the idea of like putting up some kind of persona or some kind of smokescreen to fill some kind of need or mask some kind of insecurity. Like I love those kind of movies. And I don't think it's like subtle and like the execution isn't perfect, but it's filled with these like big sweeping emotions. And I think I just really love this movie. Um, there's this like cultural clash between Brendan Fraser's character and all the other Japanese workers. And I think the movie does a good job of holding both without like saying that one is better than the other. And Philip, like he thinks that the rental family service is like a crazy lie and it's not real, right? But then he also, as he works and takes more jobs, like he sees the value, the happiness, the goodness that he can help bring, even if it's not real. And I think the movie lands in a good place at the end where like the resolution, it's like a compromise of cultures. It's understanding the context of Japan while bringing like empowerment into it. And I like how it doesn't really take a side at the end. It's like not like demolishing the idea of a rental family service. It's about like reforming the idea. And I think overall, it's not a very American styled movie. Like in typical American movies, right? Like you have certain beats that you'll hit throughout the story, like inciting incident, midpoint, climax, all that stuff. And usually, like everything comes to a head at each of those moments. And it's like a big dramatic something, you know? And I think I can see a version of this movie where everything is just more dramatic and just a lot more crazy. Um, like hiring a man to pretend to be your daughter's father. That's like a perfect scenario for melodrama and crying scenes and crazy turns and big sweeping music. But there's almost like an intentional choice for things to be quieter and slower and more restrained. And I think there's actually a lot of strength in that quietness. It feels more real. It's a slower pace. It's not as melodramatic, but the things still hit. I feel like every intended emotional aspect of this movie came through, and I think it does a good job to avoid becoming some like sappy, overdramatic soap drama. And also, like I think there's a lot of interesting story choices made here. Like, I think you could really make a Netflix vanilla version of this movie where you have just like 2 hours of family dynamics and the dad and daughter relationship and just focus on that and just pull on the sad heartstrings and stuff like that and like, oh, this daughter's so cute and now like I want to be the father and you know like I it's more than just acting, right? um but the director Hikari really like broadens the scope. It's not just like a movie about this individual client and Brendan Fraser and this daughter figure. Like it's a movie that gives a bunch of different perspectives on the rental family services. And I think they give a lot of screen time to the other rental family actors, the boss of the company, the different clients. Like there's clients where everyone knows that it's a lie, and there's clients where like no one actually knows it's a lie. And I think this decision it just like allows for a greater depth and exploration of what humans do to like silently cope. Um, and so involving those other characters, I think was a great idea, strong creative choice. And it's also the harder creative choice because it's like harder to weave all this stuff together. But I think it brings like a fullness to the world and to the concept that I really like. Um, Overall, acting wise, like Brendan Fraser, he is phenomenal. Like first of all, he just physically looks like a guy who would move to Japan. Like softer facial features, like some of his mannerisms, and also like I think the way that he plays his voice makes it just like feel believable. Like oh, like this is a guy who would move to Japan and live there for like 7 years and really try to like get into that culture. Um, and I think he does not overact, and kind of like the theme that I talked about of like the restraint and like not being like overly dramatic. Like Brendan Fraser does that well. Like he's got these little subtle stares and gazes, and also just like the way that he warms up to people over time and warms up to the job. Like super good, awesome performance. Um, but I think like the real strength is in how well the side characters are done, and I think like talking about any one of them would have to go into spoilers, and like I don't want to do that because I don't think like discussing them would do justice. Um, but I think Hikari allows the audience to learn about them like through observation. There's not like a whole lot of big like mind blowing conversations or like big like gold nugget insight one liners, and like if you were at the Oscars and like someone was being nominated for like supporting actor or supporting actress, like usually like they play a video clip, right? And like, oh, like this is like the scene of them yelling or like them crying really hard or doing something really cool or whatever. Like it would be hard to find one of those like clips because I think we just like naturally see their character and motivations unfold over time. And it's not really like, oh, this big moment or like this time where I was like, wow, they really acted their butts off. And I think that's like a lot of credit to the editing and the writing team right there. Um, and then just like a tiny random little aside, like the hair, makeup, and styling team did a phenomenal job. Like specifically with Mari Yamamoto's character, her name's Aiko. She's one of the workers at the rental family service. In this movie, she has so many different distinct looks and disguises, and like the production team made her look like so good in so many different ways. Like she was distractingly attractive. But anyways, besides the point. Overall, I feel like this movie was built for me basically. Like I love these types of Persona movies, and I love Japan. It's like hard to describe. It's like slow and quiet strengths, but I loved it. Would totally recommend giving it a watch. Go check it out. It's good. I don't know where it'll be when it comes to streaming, but dude, watch it. Good movie. Rental Family. Totally recommend.